Hello friends, you can log on to primeaptacademy.com to access complete free video courses. So this is the 39th question of the ratio and percentage chapter. So the question says, in a certain fraction, the negative numerator is decreased by 10% and the positive denominator is decreased by 20%. So the numerator is negative and the denominator is positive. Now question says, by what percentage the new fraction is greater than or less than the original fraction. So in this case, what I will do is, I will assume the initial fraction to be minus 1 upon 1. Okay, here the numerator is minus 1, the negative numerator, and the positive denominator is 1. Now what I am doing is, minus 1 is decreased by 10%. Okay, and this 1 over here is minus 1 is decreased by 10% and the positive denominator is decreased by 20%. This 1 over here is decreased by 20%. Now if you look at it, what do I get? How do I decrease minus 1 by 10%? Okay, so let me come over here. I have this number minus 1. If I say let's say there is a number 1. If I say increase it by 10%, what do you get? You get 1.1. Okay, but over here, and if you decrease it by 10%, what do you get? 0.9. But minus 1, if you decrease it by 10%, and if you write minus 0.9, that is incorrect. Why? Because minus 0.9 is greater than minus 1. Okay, it is not less than minus 1. Alright, so when you are dealing with a negative number, then if you are decreasing it by 10%, then in reality, the value of that negative term has to be increased by 10%, and then you put the negative sign. So minus 1 decreased by 10% becomes minus 1.1, which is less than minus 1. Okay, then only a decrease is happening here. Alright, so whenever you are decreasing a negative number, keep this in mind, that basically you increase that numerical part and then you put the negative sign. The same logic will apply if you increase the negative number by some percentage. A negative number, if let's say negative number is increased by x%, then what do? You decrease the negative part, ignore the negative part, decrease that number by x% and then put the negative sign. Alright, so this is how minus 1 is decreased by 10%. You get minus 1.1. So over here in the numerator we get minus 1.1, and in the denominator it's a positive number. 1 decreased by 20% is 0.8. So this becomes basically minus 11 upon 8. 1.1 is 11 by 8. So minus 11 by 8. That will be equal to negative of 8 ones are 8. Then 8 you are left with 3 and 0. So 8 3s are 24. Then 6 and 0. 8 7s are 56. And then 5 and 4 and 0, 8 5s are 40. Minus 1.375. So you start from minus 1. Now what I'm going to do is, we will write the value is minus 1 is the starting value and the ending value is minus 1.375. So the ending value is minus 1.375. So you start with minus 1 and you have become further more negative. That means there is a percentage decline happening. Okay, what is the percentage decline? So what is the percentage decrease or decline? So there is a decrease happening. You are at minus 1, you come to minus 1.375. So the percentage decreases. Now if it is a decrease, the change will be then starting value minus ending value, which is minus 1 minus 1.375 divided by my starting value is minus 1. Okay, so this will become minus 1 plus. Also, if you look at it, rather than doing all these things, what it is like, from minus 1 if you go on to minus 1.375, basically there is a 37.5% decline that has happened. Okay, so rather than calculating all those things, you could have directly stated it, from 1 you are going to 1.375 on the negative terms. So the decline is 37.5%. So over here, by what percentage is the fraction greater or less? It is less. By how much? 37.5% less. So 37.5% less is the answer. Okay, that's how you solve this question.